welcome to BTG Magazine. My name is Marisa Bludon. I am your editor-in-chief, and we are so excited to be wishing you holiday wishes for the year. Coach Ray is in the house. Dr. P is in the house. We haven't been with you for a minute, just doing some things in the background, getting prepared for 2024, make things live, popping and happening for you. Listen, this is a time of the year that we look over the year. We're celebrating, but we're also reflecting on the year, what's gone on this year, and also, too, preparing our hearts for the coming year. So, listen, what do you guys have to say for the year? Dr. P, you're up.
We made it. Number one. Yeah. Yes. Amen. We made it. And it's been a good year. We spent a lot of time together, actually physically, and that says a lot when we all live in different places. So such a blessing. And just our outlook on what we need to do. You're talking about bridging the gap and seeing what our students need and what our parents need and what we need as adults to just help our kids be better. Education is everything. We already see we kind of get this reset that we now have, and we can go full speed ahead and figure out some things. And we're doing it together. And we want to hear back in 2024 even more what kids need. So here we are, and we're excited. We really are. This is real.
All right, Coach Ray, you are in the trenches. Dr. P is on the collegiate level. I am here just having a heart for the young people, not launching my academy yet. And I'm doing some things in the background in the PG County with youth leadership development, has a partner in Maryland, the DMV area, doing some youth leadership development curriculum, putting that together. But you are in the trenches. So talk to us about what's gone on this past year. What were the highs and the lows? And what should we be looking out for next year? How can we make a difference, whether it's parents, community, admin? How can we support you teachers who are in the trenches with these young people?
Well, I would say this past year a lot of light was shed on the emotional instability on the young people and their inability to assess situations that can cause detriment to their futures, right? I was very observant at the increase at vape usage in the schools. We talking all the way down to like late elementary school, early middle school. The increase of using vapes, the increase of marijuana smoking in the school building. It's been just an increase of like fearlessness amongst the youth. And I don't mean like fear in a negative way. I mean in a way like fearing to let someone you care about down. That's dropped off. When we grew up, like you had a certain fear of letting your parents and people that you respected down. That almost no longer exists, right? So one of the things I've seen an increase of this year as far as in positivity is kids being more open about what they're frustrated about at home with their parents. I've had several conversations with young people. They like, look, I've had young ladies come in my classroom to vent and talk about trying to be emancipated from their family because of how their parents act. Wow. So it's real that there has to be some change. And there has to be some accountability from the adults that think that, that their kids are fine. These kids aren't fine. They're hurting. And so the community aspect is big because that's the support for the house. The community used to support the house. You got what you got at home, but the people in the community knew who your parents were, so they was backing your peoples up. Like that don't exist anymore. People in the community is all about themselves. So like you, Marissa, Marissa, one of the things that I've done is I developed a curriculum for leadership development. I have a curriculum to help train mentors on how to properly mentor, because I think that's where the hole is. Teaching teachers. I have a curriculum where it's teaching teachers that how to be a mentor in education, or instead of just being an educator. like you're an educator that's a mentor. It's like a hybrid package to get them to understand, like, you are also a mentor. Don't just look at it like you grading papers. Like, you have the ability to change lives. And I think that's the big thing coming into this end of the year is a lot of these adults got to realize, like, these kids' lives need to be touched, not criticized. I think we've done enough criticism of these kids. I think we've criticized them enough. It's time to take some accountability as grown people and figure out how to help it. That's my 2 cents.
Mm. Wow. You said a lot, and there's a lot that goes to. I just feel like, and this has been my heartbeat for a while, is that, you know, we're just letting them slip away, kind of, so to speak. And just like you said, you know, with the legalizing of marijuana, didn't help. Adults smoking around young people doesn't help, because kids don't do what you say, they do what you do. And we know
Right.
that for a fact. And because kids they look for our hypocrisy, because in that hypocrisy gives them justification for their behavior that's not in alignment. And they don't care because they learn not to care. If we don't have any respect for our young people, just like you said, and we don't see them, then they learn not to care about what we think. Am I right? Am I wrong
No,
here?
you're right. I think they stop caring about our opinions and our thoughts because they don't line up with our actions, don't line up with what we say. And so this generation right here is not like us, where we just respect the people because their age. They want to see you actually perform this. Like, you got to live how you saying with these kids,
We gotta
and that's why
earn our respect.
that's why I love this generation. So I mean, I love all, but this generation right here is special to me because it's like they like, nah, your action speaks to me, not your words. Anybody can get on a microphone and say how they care about me, but are you gonna pull up the next week? And so with me, like I partnered with the Next Step to Success program in Norfolk and been working with their gentlemen's group. The first week, I was like, I'm coming back. They didn't believe it. I've been back every week since then.
Mm.
So every Monday, I walk in the door. They like, oh shoot, he really back. Yeah, I'm back.
That's
Because
right.
if I say I'm an agent of change, I got to do what I got to do to be that agent of change.
Yeah.
Coach, you said something powerful, because even as we're talking about ending this year, but next month, January, is National Mentoring Month. So I know we have some initiatives going on. We all do, but I know specifically we have initiatives about talking about what it really means, what mentoring is, and what mentees need. We can say we're mentors, but we have to ask, what do you need?
Right.
Not us walking
And
in the room and assuming everything.
no, I don't assume. And so I had a conversation with a couple of parents who called me to mentor their sons. And I'm very honest when I have these conversations. I said, I'm being very honest. I don't want you to think that this is going to be the type of mentoring where I come pick your kid up for pizza and to go to the movies once every blue moon. I said, that's not how I mentor. I actually operate on systems. I have systems and I have processes that I follow which work. So when I told a parent that, and I was like, no, I need contact with their teachers. I need contact with the people that handle their extracurriculars. I need you to stay in constant contact, any church groups, all those things, because I'm able to attack the whole kid instead of me saying, oh, he been having a rough time. Let me take him and go get ice cream and talk. That's not helping them. That's just giving them a treat.
Yeah.
But if I go talk to the teacher directly and find out what the real issue is, I'm able to attack that and say, hey, mom, this is what the teacher said that's going on. They tried to contact you several times to get you to come to the school to talk to your kid, and you're refusing to answer the phone. You need to go to the school and talk to your kid, not me. So I have a system that I follow that I've been able to that I built the curriculum around to train mentors on how to do this, because I'm one person.
Yeah.
There's a right way to mentor, and I think we've gotten so consumed with let me take them to get something to eat. Let me take them here. Let me play video games with them. That don't do nothing. So that's like a reward. The
Right.
reward. Yeah, no, we don't reward. We change. There's a difference.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah. And it's so important what you said. It does take a village. And once so it's like it like cuts in so many different directions in the sense of one, now the kid knows, right? The kid knows based on your accountability system, where you're not just talking to the kid, you're not just talking to the kid and the parent, you're talking to the kid, the parent, and everything that is connected to that kid. So that puts a different perspective on things, and it puts a different value on things, and it tells the kid that, listen, no matter what direction I go, there's going to be accountability. And so therefore it should intrigue or influence the child, the student, the kid, to begin to care about what other people think, because it's someone in that group of adults is going to mean something to that child, enough to cause them to align, right?
Yeah.
Because I know for a fact, as a kid, I remember going to class. Now, there were certain teachers that triggered or drew out of you a level of respect and a command of respect. So I had the opportunity over, and I know Coach Ray, you said keep it sweet, right? So I'm watching the time. So I had I was blessed because I've had a curriculum in the PDG County for several years now. Didn't even realize. I think it's about 8 years that this program was evolving over the years. It started off with just a couple of activity sheets into a full-fledged curriculum. And so I had the pleasure and the honor of actually entering into a classroom over the last visit to the US and actually see my program in place. And with the students, the handbook was there, and I was like, oh my God, it was a lot for me because, I designed it and handed it off, right? So I never really got to see it in full effect. I just knew that it was in full effect, and I knew that it was making an impact and a difference. Well, when this officer comes into the room, there's a protocol that the students have to stand up immediately at attention and honor the officer when they came into the room. To hear the sound of these kids quickly jumping up in sync. Now, it's in sync so it's like a thunder sound and I'm like, what are they doing? Because I'm not expecting that. This is my first time being in the room. I'm sitting down and they were like up to attention. And the respect, the command of respect just by entering the room was astonishing. And this particular school is a very highly problematic school. It's a very troubled school. So to see those students, and then also too, when I first walked in, seeing the workbooks on their desk, and they had to present. So those Dr. P was in the anthology earlier this year, and I had them look at, before they came to the DR. I had them go through this whole 8-week speaker program, and in the program it says, who are you, what are you about, and where you learn that from. And so basically, because incorporated, what I did was, in this curriculum, I incorporated the Toastmasters public speaking, because I know that when you teach children how to come before a room and speak, it builds up a level of confidence, self-worth, value. And so I incorporated it in the curriculum. And so they were doing that exercise. They were actually, some of the kids were having turns going up and speaking about who they are, their core values, etc. So in the classroom, I got to hear them talk about core values. I got to hear them talk about critical thinking. Now, this officer that I had worked with over the years to introduce this, to create this curriculum, would say to me, Marisa, they don't want to hear about critical thinking or core values. And I said to him, if they don't understand these basic foundational guides, moral guides for themselves, they're going to really, really struggle. They need to know, even though they're struggling in their life, even though there's a lot of things going on in their life, they have to know these skill sets. They have to understand the SWOT analysis. What are their strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats? The way that they understand it and can interpret it, but they need to become aware of themselves in order for them to navigate through this life successfully, regardless of where they come from. So to hear them, to be in this classroom environment and to see that what I was telling him, this officer, as we were creating this curriculum, going back and forth about what the kids will get and what they won't get, to see that this young man sitting off in the corner giving his feedback said, yeah, because these are my core values. My core values are this, that. And I was like, oh my God, in this troubled school, it just made me like, I don't can't even tell you the emotions that I felt behind, my conviction of knowing that when you set a standard for these young kids, you let them know that this standard, they can own this standard and they can walk in this standard. It just says a lot to me. And so for me, being a young woman, young girl in school, there were certain teachers that did not compromise on their standard of excellence, that they commanded that I rise up to that. Those are the adults that no matter what, if I did something, I do not want to shame them. I don't want to be, I would be so embarrassed if I had got caught doing something wrong. So even these kids that you talk about that don't have that regard anymore, just like you said, they search out to see who is it that I can respect? Who is it that and with the concept that you have in pulling all of those components, those people together to create a village or a community behind holding that one child accountable is amazing. It's amazing, and it's applaudable. And so I just really, I'm so glad that you're out there, doing this, that you're making that commitment, and that you are in the trenches and you see what's going on, and you're keeping us in tune, so that we know when we get ready to launch the BTG Academy, we know exactly what we have. We already have the curriculum and everything in place. It's just a matter of timing, and an opportunity. So just excited about that. So close us out, Coach Ray, with what the 20, because we already at 20 minutes. So so close us out, inspire our viewers on how can we we should adapt what you're doing and do the same thing, hold kids accountable through all those different directions.
Listen, I'll say this and I'll tell a brief story about today, actually, to close this out. So today at school, I'm in my classroom, and so one of the students, kids come and see me, throughout the day. And one of my students, one of the young ladies in the building who put herself as my adopted daughter, one of the few, comes in my classroom and said, I got a bone to pick with you. I said, what I do? And so she's like, I just found out that somebody else around here said that you claiming them as your daughter too. This ain't this. I don't know what you got going on, but I was supposed to be the only one. So this girl grabs my jacket and leaves my room and says, I'm about to show everybody I got my dad's jacket on.
Oh.
And show them I'm the favorite. And it was funny, but it resonated because she's such a lighthearted kid, but she was willing to admit that she didn't have a strong male figure in her life.
Mm-hmm.
So, and this isn't the first one. And even the young men that I addressed will say, I don't know, my dad ain't around. I've had parents, moms tell me that dad just told the kid he wanted nothing to do with him. So I close out and say this. we all know kids that operate. We all know kids that come from environments like this. We all know kids that parents are not parenting, or a parent abandoned them, or they're hurting to some degree. Be the person you needed when you grew up.
Exactly.
That's all I'll say. Just be who you needed when you grew up. You ain't got to be everybody's father figure, but you do, as an adult, have a. I'm trying to use my words carefully. God said we have to do this. I can try to use all the big words and sound overly educated as I want, but at the end of the day, it all surrounds. God said we have to do this.
Mm-hmm.
There's no point in the Bible where there wasn't someone being led by an older person to step into a role or to heal some element of trauma.
Mm-hmm.
We are mandated by God to do this. And every time you turn your head to a kid that you know is struggling, and you willingly don't step in and say anything to help change their heart, you are shortchanging the mandate that God gave us. So for 2024, I pray and I ask that every adult that is connected to the youth somehow step into that mandate and do what God requires of the older generations to do. And that's to bring the generations behind us up so they can take over. Because we're supposed to leave the world better than we found it. And right about now, we're not doing a good job.
No, we're not. We're going backwards.
So let's step our game up and let's move to the end zone. So when we cross the end zone line, we know the next team that comes on the field can carry it the rest of the way. God bless y'all.
God bless you. God bless you. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas. We love you guys. We're
See
so
y'all next year. I don't know why I said that. I don't like when people say that to me when school lets out, but I'd be like,
well, the hope is to actually see you next year, and it's okay.
Yeah, I'd be like,
it's fine.
You need to see me next week. But nah, y'all be blessed. Good night.
Yes, we love you. Good night. Happy holidays.